Namaskara, hello everyone. Who doesn't know Dr. Manjunath? Everybody knows him well. He's a renowned cardiologist who really made a big change in cardiac care in this country, not just Karnataka. More importantly, today is a member of the parliament, and we are very proud of him for the lot of initiatives he has taken in healthcare. As we know, healthcare always is a topic of discussion. So today we are going to have an informal discussion about two things. Before that, I want to give a little bit of a philosophical outlook on this. You know, we always have, when two parties are involved, when there is a discussion, there is a thesis. I put forth a certain idea, and the opposing party obviously puts forth another idea. It's called antithesis. But out of it, if we both are willing to talk, sit across table and work, is what is born is synthesis. I will give you an outstanding example what has happened in this. There is capitalism. Some people love capitalism, maybe US. Some people dislike capitalism, is no good. So capitalistic society is admired or said we are not capitalists. Then there is communism. People say communists are good. At one time Karl Marx wrote a lot of things, Das Kapital. There is no capitalism. Everything belongs to everyone. Land, this, everything. You just work for the government, you get paid. But out of which was born synthesis, which is socialism, where people said you can be capitalism, you can be communism, but combine the two, socialism, where you take care of all parts of the society. The rich, the middle class, the lower class, all are. How do you achieve that? And I have one theory called capo altruism, where you can be wealthy, but at the same time you can take care of the society also. Doesn't prevent, you can have both. So in the discussion today, you know, Dr. Manjunath, you have a lot of experience in government. You have also been involved in a lot of committees, and you have amazing work with Jaideva you did. And I want to know what do you see, how healthcare from the government viewpoint, and then we can discuss what does the private is nearly 77% in India, how we can play a role and how we can create a synthesis where we can take care of all, rather than saying private hospitals only make all the money, they at least they provide quality. Government hospitals, you know, are taking care, but there's not enough people, there are not enough system in place. Why do people go to private? Why do people go to government? There are so many discussions, as you know. So I would like to really hear from you to start the conversation. And towards the end, we will also have some questions.
Yeah. Anyway, first of all, I'm very thankful to Dr. Ajaikumar and Sita Lakshmi and the group for arranging this program, because always nice to have a discussion, because in my opinion, discussion is basically exchange of thoughts and knowledge. Well, argument is basically exchange of ego and ignorance.
Correct.
So I think let us get into the discussion. See, always we talk about, I mean, any platform or in any discussion, whether we are preparing a budget, whether it is in state assemblies or even that, for that matter, parliament, we always say two things. Health and education should be given priority. Health and education, because we have right to education. We have, on the similar line, we should have a right to health also. We have freedom of right to express. Of course, we're not trying to impress, at least we try to express. But unfortunately, what is happening, the budgetary allocation to health and education is still less, maybe 1.9% of GDP.
Yes.
Compared to other countries, even adjoining countries like Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, even, of course, it's pretty high in Australia or UK or even in France and all those things. So there probably we have to catch up there. They are trying to increase the budgetary allocation, but it is not enough. because the technology is growing, there is explosion of technology, but there is explosion of diseases also. And see, today we are in an era of digitalization, we are in an era of digital technical explosion. Many contraindications have become indications. A particular, for example, cancer which was not treatable earlier, now it is treatable.
Correct.
Or some cardiac disease which was not treatable. For example, when I was doing my cardiology angiogram, coronary angiogram for heart attack was contraindicated. Now it is the indication. Now the concept is taking the bull by the horn.
Correct.
Earlier we are trying to treat, bull by the tail. Now it is bull by the horn. So that you can just knock it down, the disease, whatever it is. So the need and dream of the every Indian is healthcare should be affordable, a quality care, because there are institutions where there is quality but there is no subsidy or charity. There are institutions where there is subsidy and charity but there is no quality. So you should have a mix of both quality and charity. That is where we call it as affordable. So as you said, 70% of the healthcare in India is provided by the private sector. So there also we have many grades. Suppose we have a very top end super speciality, multi speciality, or very particular speciality like SCG, Cancer Institute, and we have a mid-sized institutions also. As we move towards district and semi-urban and rural places, we have small nursing homes and all. So all put together they are doing a service. Then coming back to the government healthcare, we have medical colleges. So today India has got 720 medical colleges, which was just 350 about 10 years back. Now there is 720 medical colleges, and India is producing now close to 1,20,000 MBBS doctors annually, and about 75 to 80,000 specialists. So going by this, by 2028 or by 2030, India will be saturated with doctors. There is no question about it. So afterwards, really there will be, yes, I foresee a massive unemployment problem for the doctors.
So
after 2030, leave it alone. Okay.
So Dr. Manjunath, before we go to medical education and all, one of the important things which is daily, like you mentioned very well, is the concept of affordability cost, which comes in our daily practice. And as you know, with the private healthcare, lot of time is bashed. It's cost so much. So there is, and obviously we are not a monopoly. There are others. So as we go deep into it, one of the things our doctors face is how do we bridge this gap? If a person, for example, let us say a 28-year-old lady comes who is on the scheme, let us say, who requires Herceptin, certain drugs for breast cancer, and we see this in our tumor board. And when we do the tumor board, the cancer recurs after 2 years, and she has got extensive disease. Very practical problem. We asked the doctor, why didn't you give Herceptin? Sir, the system did not allow. The scheme did not allow. So one of the questions is, morally I tell the doctors, we are still responsible. We are there, we should have done it. So what is the answer? Which I know we have some thoughts will come later on. But the question is, these are practical problems we foresee. I'm sure in cardiology you've seen it too. How do we overcome this kind of moral, mental issue? Because we go to bed in the night, look, this lady recurred, I couldn't give her the treatment. How do we sleep? So this is a system says they won't pay Herceptin, they don't pay immunotherapy. So how do we tackle this problem?
See, one important thing here, what is happening, we have this Ayushman Bharat, Ayushman Bharat Arogya Karnataka scheme, which was launched in the year 2019. Yeah. But problem is the package rates need to be revised.
Correct.
So in fact, it was bit revised in 2022. Many states, including Karnataka, they have not adopted the revised package rate. See, at least we have to, otherwise what is happening, only government institutions are bound to take this scheme, and private hospitals obviously will be left out of this, because at least if not a profit, the package rate should able to meet the actuals. Package rate, and we can always work on a volume cum revenue model.
Correct.
For example, yes, SCG is getting patients from different parts of India, different parts of the world. So we have a special ward, we have a deluxe ward, I mean a single room and a general ward. So if the volume is more, then probably it maybe 5 or 10% of poor patient you can support, and this serves as a cross subsidy in our own institution.
Absolutely, absolutely.
It works as a cross subsidy.
Absolutely right.
Yeah, but certainly the need of the hour is to strengthen our existing government health schemes such as Ayushman Bharat. It is very much needed, because at this point of time, particularly for cancer or cardiovascular disease, some implants, high-end complex interventions across all specialties, it is needed. So for this, obviously both the federal government as well as state government both have to put in some grants so that this scheme need to be strengthened. Otherwise, what is happening, I agree, now recently in the budget some cancer drugs have been exempted from custom duty, that is fine, but still many immunotherapy drugs, they are pretty expensive, because cycles you have to give in 10 cycles, 15 cycles, I mean so many, if I am correct.
Correct, absolutely.
Yeah. So the cost of immunotherapy, see immunotherapy, of course, for the benefit of the listeners, others I can say, it is a targeted therapy. Chemotherapy is a general one,
Yeah.
so immunotherapy is a targeted therapy, so which will be pretty expensive. Somewhere this, for the entire course it can cost from 20 lakhs to 50 lakhs, 60 lakhs. So that is where it drains the out of pocket expenditure. At this point of time, in Karnataka, despite the schemes, the out of pocket expenditure is 30 to 35%, relatively less. In the entire country, I am very happy to say out of expenditure in Karnataka is least. For example, in Uttar Pradesh it is 70%.
70.
And even in Kerala it is about 70 to 80%.
Is this because of the insurance people have?
Yeah. So, and another thing, of course, government institutions and private institutions have to work together. There is no question about it. I think they should be complementary to each other. And most important in a public sector organization, yes, we have fantastic buildings, we have equipments. Real problem is manpower. We need to strengthen the existing government institutions, whether it is medical colleges or super specialty hospital, with manpower. I think manpower, that I am sorry to say that across India, I mean there is actually there is shortage of manpower, doctors, nurses, technicians.
And doctors want to work only in big cities.
Yeah.
They get good money, they
Yeah,
get
coming back to that, see, in fact, I suggested in the Parliamentary Standing Committee, also in the Parliament speech, see, doctors are not, junior doctors at least, MBBS doctors, they are not ready to go to rural hospitals.
Correct.
So as a result, primary health centers, we have community health centers, they do not have doctors, and MBBS doctors are reluctant to go. So you have to incentivize. Number one, you have to increase their salary. That is, second is, if they work in a rural hospital, so some extra additional weightage should be given to them for NEET PG examination. So that could be a great incentive. If they work for 2 years in a rural hospital, they should, I mean, for whatever marks they get in NEET PG exam, some additional incentive marks to be added. That is the thing. So I think the burning problem, because public institutions can, if they work efficiently, it acts like a market regulator. It acts like a market regulator.
Yeah, I want to talk on that. See, always you were in the public Jaideva, of course you made it very profitable. You created a worldwide phenomena with Jaideva, where people came and studied the model. And similarly, you know, in a way, HCG was studied by Harvard Business School as a hub and spoke model, making cancer accessible, affordable. But in this regard, what we feel is if 70% is provided by the private, is there a point of discussion?
Okay.
Is what should be the role of government going forward? Because like you said very well, the India spends in recent talk, I had analyzed everything, about $80 per person. China spends $650. Europe spends 500 to 600 euros. US spends 10,000. 500 to 6,000, 5,000. US spends 10,000 per person. 19% of the GDP is health. We can't reach there. But while we are thinking of it good quality, our quality is very good in cities. We are, as you know, you are established area. But should the government be in competition with private? Should the government incentivize private to penetrate, like you said, doctors are not there, primary health care, so that government becomes a monitoring agency? Hey, I have a very poor rickshawala's wife. I want them to get the same as a Mercedes-Benz person's wife. Outcome, I will measure the outcome. Here is your money, I'll give you. My role is to measure. I will not start hospitals, you do. Or should the government also extensively compete, and has it succeeded in this competition? Except for, but government could be in the training, the Jaideva or AIMS or Victoria, they could train people, do it. But should they penetrate these tier 2, tier 3 cities, or come up with a plan to, which we will discuss later, of the universal health care? What is your view on this? And what?
See, now a time has come, even corporate hospital should start moving to tier 2 cities.
We have 18 hospitals.
Yeah, tier 2 cities, there probably some incentives has to be given. If somebody wants to set up an hospital in tier 3 city,
correct,
some incentives with
tax
respect
breaks.
to tax breaks, or be tax holiday for 5
In fact,
years.
Gujarat used to give 10 or 15% of money for LINAC if you go to tier 2 cities.
No, I did raise this point in the parliament actually. Suppose if somebody wants to have an hospital in tier 2 cities, or maybe tier 3 cities,
correct,
some tax holiday can be given for about 3 years, some sort of honeymoon period, this thing. If it is tier 3 city, of course, so probably then they might get because for otherwise too much of traveling will be there. At least there could be initial diagnosis can be done, or follow-up chemotherapy can be done. If not, the major complex procedures has to be done here only. That is one thing. Another important thing is, I think coming back to drugs, I think, where we can reduce the cost.
Absolutely.
So there is a huge gap between the billing price and the MRP. Suppose the cost of the medicine, actually buying price, in other words, billing price is MRP is the billing price. Actually, hospital and pharmacy buys, for example, they buy at 20,000. MRP is 40,000. Patient is billed 40,000. So that gap need to be reduced.
But Dr. Manjunath, in this regard, very interesting point. See, what the hospitals say is, we are a big purchaser. We do volume discount, so we can buy at a lower price. Why are you coming in our way? But isn't it better to cap the MRP? Suppose MRP itself, you bring it down to 30,000. So allow the hospital, say you are allowed only 20% margin. So MRP is, I feel, better, because each hospital acquires, because Bangalore, my cost of operation is high, I may have to pay. Let them struggle whatever they want.
But it has to be, of course, there has to be a reasonable gap.
Yes.
If hospital or a pharmacy is buying the drug at say 10,000 rupees, if MRP, okay, MRP can be around 13,000, 14,000, it should not be 30,000. There is a huge gap.
But what happens in India is there is so much of vast country. A small nursing home in North India may be buying at a different price. A big conglomerate hospital corporate may be buying at a lower because of volume.
No,
so
those who are giving a huge volume, they still purchase at a lower price.
Yeah.
But again, ultimately that the gap between the actual selling price and the MRP is
But
huge.
why do you think MRP can't be brought down?
No, that's what. So I
if
think
the MRP itself comes down,
correct.
Don't you think
So
that's better?
that benefit can be transferred to
Yeah.
the patients,
Yeah.
that benefit. I still agree, suppose actual cost of the medicine is going to be say 5,000, MRP can be around
Recently, CGHS,
7 or 8,000.
recently
It should not be 15,000.
Yeah.
So because ultimately patients are billed at MRP.
Yeah.
Or
No,
even
you
the
are right. But
pharmacists
lot-
also are billing. If you buy from a medical store, they are also giving you at a MRP rate. That is one thing. Another thing, see, particularly coming to your specialty, we have a radiotherapy equipments, very expensive.
Custom duty,
5 crores, 10 crores.
No, radiotherapy is 15 crores.
15 crores, your PET scans and all those things. So this is one area where probably, of course, the government of India has exempted many cancer drugs from the customs duty. Probably on radiotherapy equipment also, if they exempt, certainly I
Great
will,
idea.
yeah,
hopefully.
I will take up this issue in the parliament, in the parliamentary standing committee, and also with the finance minister.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I think it will be great because nearly it comes 35%.
Because otherwise what happens, we have to charge the patients more because you are buying those equipments at a cost of 15 crores, 20 crores. So you can't give treatment at a subsidized rate to the patients.
Absolutely. That is a major thing,
Yeah.
which we have all been fighting, and our AHPI, everybody is fighting. And CGHS also, by the way, in the pharma, we have written to them, they say, we don't care, no profit for you. You just give us what you buy, drugs and sell, because we can't. So a lot of us are refusing. So this is an issue which has to be taken.
But one thing, at least some of these, for example, cancer drugs, or maybe some cardiovascular implants, or maybe orthopedic implants, I think this is where probably the whatever scheme we have, Ayushman Bharat scheme, they should make some special packages. So then otherwise what happens, with this package rates, it's not possible for the private hospital to take up the scheme patients. But at the same time, then entire load will be on government hospitals. If the load is more on the government hospital, down the line quality will
Even
suffer.
government hospitals, can they provide immunotherapy free?
No,
they cannot.
no.
So that is why they are
See,
denying.
what I did in Jaydeva, with government grants alone, it was not possible
You-
to run
you
that
raised
facility. We worked in a lot of charitable organizations, philanthropists. So in fact, we created a lot of corpus fund. That's how we could able to
This
do the
brings up an important point.
on
which
PPP model, something like
this
that.
is what I want to ask you. See, I was in US for a long time before I gave up my citizenship. Because I worked in US Medicare, I got a card when I reached the 65. Even today I can go and get any treatment, any hospital
In US.
in US free, no limits. So I started studying because we paid. Dr. Manjunath, India is a land of youths, 65–70% youths. They are not supposed to get sick. So one of the things I told Niti Aayog when Dr. Paul and everything didn't go anywhere is create like you created for Jaydeva, a foundation for entire country. I believe in our thing, if everybody contributes, like based on their income, based on their cell phone charges per year, if it is 10% of your cell phone charge is health cess. So that goes to healthcare, creating this foundation, autonomous body. I believe on my calculation, we can create $150 to $200 billion. This is enough to take care of what you had suggested, immunotherapy, everything for everyone. And everyone can have a card, even a most rich person. He pays more because he's wealthy into the system. So this kind of autonomous body monitors and makes sure everybody is treated, approval, non-approval, it does everything. And the most important thing, I have studied Canadian system. You may know Canadian retirement fund, what goes into the system is maybe 100 billion, but because they invest in public markets, that has become $1 trillion. So 250, 200 billion as you rotate every year you collect, it can become $1 trillion. See, this could be the answer to our healthcare, where everybody is equality is brought. For us, As doctors, I can speak for our doctors, administrator. Most frustrating thing is, how can we deny treatment for somebody? We know they require treatment, immunotherapy. How can we deny? So I would like you to think about this and see what is the answer. Can we create this universal health care equality?
That's a great idea. Unfortunately, what happens, the mentality and the mindset of Indians should change. Because when it, in fact, some of the most greedy people are those who have got tons of money. So only about 5 to 10% have generosity and all. Not that, there are some exceptions, I agree. See, always I have seen when it comes to the question of paying, they back out.
But we should force it. No?
Yeah.
See, if you are tax paying is so much, certain percentage you pay extra. Cigarette, you pay extra. Suppose cigarette is tax already 80%, let us say. I will charge a 10% more. I wrote to Nirmala Sitaram, sent word, that 10% allocated for this foundation.
Well, anyway, earlier they used to collect, even health cess is there. But it is not being utilized.
I filed an RTI.
No, even in every state has got a health cess. But that should be given to the patient. See, probably whatever scheme we have, at least we have some sort of a, you should have a separate, even in this scheme, a separate immunotherapy fund, something like that. Suppose, because this cannot be generalized, because this is one area where it is a need of the hour, and because many of them get a cure with less toxicity and all those things. So there has to be a separate categories we have to create.
I think right now we have to see how to, but one of the things I hear from them is there is no money for all this excess money. They are not allocating. Like you said, 1.5%, 2% of the GDP is not going to take us in.
At least it should be increased to around at least 3.5 to 4%. Yeah. See, what is happening, whatever money that is budgeted goes mainly for salaries and capital expenditure,
correct.
Not for revenue expenditure. So, of course, in the last 10-15 years, even healthcare system has significantly improved. There is no question about it. In fact, I think our healthcare system even today is best appreciated by people coming from abroad, because I have seen NRIs coming, they will be shocked, oh, same day we are getting angiogram,
absolutely,
same day we are getting CT MRI, because in US the waiting time is about 3 months. They were asked, in fact they are really surprised, oh, am I getting the report same day? Yes, you are getting. So like this.
In fact, in oncology, we have done the study.
Suppose MRI, CT, PET scan. PET scan, they have to wait for 3 months. By then, the stage 2 becomes stage 3 or stage 4, something like that. Huh? Yeah.
Our patient comes on a Monday. Dr. Mahesh is there. Tuesday, he can do surgery, PET scan, everything. By Thursday, we can start radiation, chemotherapy. So we are, like you said, most efficient system. Yeah. But it is not across India.
Yeah. Of course, see, healthcare system is far better in southern India compared to north. So, in fact, I had suggested in one of the meeting recently, have one more AIMS in Delhi itself. Have one more AIMS in Delhi itself, because ultimately AIMS is catering to patients from Bihar and Uttar Pradesh. And if you establish another AIMS in other location in Delhi with a separate administration,
correct,
and faculty recruitment is easy in Delhi, because you will get a good faculty. So, I think definitely some sort of a PPP model also government should think, public private partnership, because wherever there is a problem, there can be a public private partnership.
But in a way, what I suggested, universal healthcare is a PPP.
Yeah.
This government is telling, I'll pay you, I'll monitor you, you do the good work.
Yeah, see, that's a great thing. Actually, for again, I don't know, I mean, there won't be universal thoughts over this. It's a great thing if everybody pays. And
they'll be forced to pay. They have to, like you pay income tax, you say you have to pay. Everybody has a cell phone. 90% of the people have cell phone. They may be not taxpayers, but they all have a cell phone. You said cell phone, you pay certain percentage of your bill. You check with the Airtel or anything, certain percentage goes to cess. I think it can collect it. I don't see it as a problem. Please think about it. and see. I presented to the parliamentary committee on this.
It's a great idea, but again, I have seen when it comes to payment, so when we say it is mandatory, then there will be a lot of
But if you make it free bus,
resistance.
everybody will agree.
Correct.
So everything free, people
But
love.
anyway, I think there is nothing wrong in at least floating that idea and see at least those who can, of course, it should not be mandatory, it's not compulsory, at least some people can pay and we'll get some revenue out of it. We can make a corpus fund.
And you are done so well in Jaideva.
Correct.
How much was your corpus fund in Jaideva?
It was 150 crores.
Fantastic.
When I took over as a director, it was about 5,000 rupees. When I at the time of leaving, it was 150 crores.
It is a fantastic. No, it is. That is why I brought this subject, because you have mastered it. You've done with your insight. I'm sure the parliament and the government should listen to you. And our hope is someday you'll soon become health minister. So you will be in right hands. That is what is needed. The right person should be the health minister to understand all this.
See, definitely actually we are talking about youth population in India. 65% are below 35 years of age. So 50% of our Indian population is below 25 years of age. Now many of these diseases, many of these, whether it is heart attack or cardiovascular disease or cancer, we are seeing in this age group between 25 to 45. Earlier, children used to bring parents for the treatment of heart attack and cancer. Now parents are bringing their children.
Correct.
So as a result, youth has to be guided, monitored, mentored, and also you have to take care of their health because of stress, because they are under tremendous stress. Food habits have changed, food products have changed, and stress has become a new tobacco. Stress can be considered as a new, is equivalent to tobacco. I mean, its adverse effects are concerned with respect to this thing. So definitely we have to take care of both youth as well as elderly. So, but I fully agree, it requires some special funding.
Absolutely, it does require, and we have to focus, as we know, prevention.
Other thing I just wanted to know, of course, those companies will not agree. If the patent period can be reduced, then Indian companies itself can manufacture, but they will not.
Definitely, they will not reduce. Their claim is we would have spent billions of dollars. They fight at the international trade level, so it will be very difficult for India to reduce. The only thing we are very good in is we are good in generic drugs. Once the immunotherapy drugs become off patent, cost will come down.
When it is likely to become off patent?
28, if I understand correctly. 28, majority of the one drug is already due in 27. Zydus is trying to come up with a.
When once in India, I think when once a drug is out of patent, so I mean, lot of companies in India, they make like lollipops, they make.
Like for example, trastuzumab has come down significantly. Bevacizumab has come down significantly. What are very good drugs we use. If you look at cisplatinum and Taxol, it is so low now, few thousands. Unfortunately, drug companies don't want to make it. That is another problem we are facing, because the prices has come down so much. So that is another problem we may face in future. People say not profitable. And another thing, of course, is Dr. Manjunath, we have to talk is research. We in India, we are not researchers. How do we, because in HCG, of course, we spend nearly 10 crores a year for research now. And we want to expand that. We want to make it 40, 50 crores. We are building a research team. We have built already data collection team, AI, computational work. But today, with so much of global things happening, US saying we don't want any foreigners, why can't we as a nation, since you are in parliament, somehow entice these brilliant people to stay and also bring scientists from there, incentivize them to come, set up things here, so we can become a hub of research. What is, I think China is doing it, as you know very
Yeah.
well.
I think research, for example, in I think you take India pharmaceutical industries. I think these private pharmaceutical industries are really supporting research like anything.
But they don't spend even 1% of the revenue.
Okay.
They're not. I asked Reddy's and others. They say we have to report quarter to quarter earnings. How can we spend? But we have to make it compulsory, possibly.
But one thing, even I fully agree, the funding for research in India has come down significantly. So not only for in the medical sector, even in universities or even any university, central universities. And another thing, even if they fund some research program, see, they say, I think there are a lot of regulations and you have to use this money only for instruments or equipments, and they are not giving at least a part of it. A part of it should be given for investigators, the principal investigator, then only they will take interest. Many times it so happens, so they allot about say 1 crore for a particular project. So at the end of completion of the project, 20 lakhs is remaining. So that is, we have to give it back. And the doctors and other researchers involved, they will not get any money because they are putting some extra effort. So that's what I was trying to impress upon. Apart from you are spending on stationaries or equipments or reagents or whatever it is, for the doctors and technicians who are involved in that, they should also get some.
That's an excellent idea. They have to intensify. Another thing is,
they should get some incentives, because in addition to their professional work, they have to do the research work. So they have to be incentivized.
see, the other thing is today there is, in my view, we used to say this is an academic institution, research, private players, they are all same. Like if you look at HCG, we are deep into research. We are actually bringing a first time in this country a mass spectro for proteogenomics.
Okay.
Spending lot, and we are gone into big deep genomic work. We have published in Nature first. So this is, government is not understanding, or whatever it is, that they say you have to be non-profit, you have to be this. Today it is all mingled into one. We can't be a cancer care provider without doing research and academics.
Yeah, research is must be in
research.
Without research there cannot be a progress, and we can't because we are only taking the data from the West and trying to extrapolate into our patients. So we have to study our own, demography and all those things.
Because
so
Indian genomics,
correct.
Indian Institute in Delhi, Mr. Chaudhary, close friend of mine, he published showing 38% of the genomic mutations are for Indians, Asians, not in Caucasians.
Okay.
So there is so much of difference.
No, research has to be supported by special grants. So I think funding has to be increased, and plus we have to incentivize the doctors and other people who are involved. See, in fact, just about 3 weeks back there was a parliamentary standing committee. The ICMR group was there. I suggested, so make it a point, you have to give some incentives to the doctors or other investigators, then only they will take interest.
Absolutely, and otherwise it will not happen. Good salary, good thing.
Correct.
A lot of people should not leave those institutions and come. So there is a couple of things now, and if you have any questions also you can. Any idea? How do you think we are maintaining quality in the standards of medical education with so many new medical colleges coming, and medical education and further the medical education? You briefly touched on that. Maybe you can little bit.
Yeah, see, we have to really, it is not the numbers we are important, the quality is very important, and particularly when we are increasing the number of seats from 150 to 250 MBBS seats, or we are giving MS General Surgery from 10 to 30 seats in a college. It's not the faculty that matters, it is the patient caseload is the criteria. So otherwise, in fact, in many private medical colleges in India today, there are more medical students than the patients.
Correct, correct.
as a result, I mean, hands-on experience is not there, and they are not exposed to practical training, and this is where we have to be cautious. Of course, particularly in those maybe northeastern states or maybe in some other northern states, I mean, colleges can be opened. But at least South India and Western India, I think college is getting saturated.
Do you get to visit, you are on the health committee of the do you get to visit medical colleges across India to see what is their quality?
Well, I have seen even before becoming member of the parliament, we have visited so many medical colleges. So I think this is very important. So quality of training. See, another important thing what is happening today because of explosion of technology, aggressive, I mean, gadgets we have, and so nowadays the basic clinical training has taken a back seat compared to what it used to be. So we are only, I mean, treating patients, looking at images, looking at lab investigations, what is called no-touch method. So I think
what you say is very true. Other day, one of my patients,
because clinical, I think
one of the patients with the team, we went and examined his throat. The patient sent word, nobody had examined my throat till now. So I really trust this doctor. So I think what you say is very true.
So basic clinic,
I mean, lot of thrush in the mouth.
Okay.
We were treating with antibiotics without realizing.
Well, whatever may be the, I mean, images or advanced technology investigations we do, I think that basic clinical approach is very, very important. That's where probably we have to rekindle the entire the landscape of training. Very important. So because nowadays what is happening, they are all patient goes with a headache. I mean, patient is not examined, get a CT scan, then I will see. The go with abdominal pain, we will do a endoscopy, come back. So this headache could be due to some drug or could be due to some, I mean, some other thing. So basic clinical training, that is the reason we have to follow what is called 3 T's even today. Let there be any sophisticated investigational gadgets may be available. Talk, touch and treat. 3 T's are very important. Talk, touch and treat. Then fourth T comes what is called trust.
I want to talk about trust. In fact, the words out of my mouth. I believe patient trust is important.
Correct.
About 10 years ago, when I started HCG Upward, I got to study what is the trust factor in USCG. MD Anderson, where I trained, PwC did a study. They said MD Anderson trust is 75%, HCG trust is 40%. It was an eye-opener because today, Manjunath, I would like your view. If you order a scan, if you order a test, lot of people feel, do I really need this test? Is the doctor making money out of it? Is the institution making more money? See, the situation has become such a way, for us, when you tell a patient you don't need this scan, they are very happy. They trust the doctor. Some of them. Of course, a lot of them do Google search and all. So, what is an answer? You know, it is a perplexing thing because the patients cannot afford, or they are middle class. They are in the middle class trap. You say, go and get a scan, and they wonder whether the scan is really needed or not. And then, you know, and you maybe it is needed, but still you become a suspect. Now trust has improved for HCG, but the question is, trust factor is an important, what you touched on. I would like you to elaborate a little bit on that and see what are your views, particularly in private sector, maybe it's an issue.
The patients come to an hospital for 2-3 reasons. They go to a particular hospital or a particular consultant for 2-3 reasons. Number one, is it a cost effective treatment? Is it going to be a quality care? A third one is a trust factor. So this is where probably, I mean, that intellectual honesty component should be there. Honesty need not be only with respect to money and other things. Even there has to be an academic honesty or this thing, and we need to prioritize these investigations. what is needed, what is very much needed. So, just because many times they go through the entire checklist whether it is needed or not. So, they have been asked to get all those investigations. So, probably there we have to prioritize those investigations, then the trust factor. See, one of the greatest decision in medical profession when a patient comes, when we say you do not require any further treatment, you do not that is and another thing, you have to understand the financial background of the patient, and within the financial background you have to evolve a strategy how best we can give still a quality care within that financial bracket, because there are drugs which are effective and less expensive. There are some drugs, experimental drugs, I mean we are going some trials which are said to be more effective. Probably we have to and we know that if the patient lifespan is not going to be more than 3 months, no point in chasing that patient with lot of expensive procedures.
One of the things, Dr. Manjunath, we have done in our Tomor Bhattacharya is there, is we learned at a major biologic conference which I went to, that immunotherapy, this is something I would like to pursue with you later, you don't have to give full dose. See, biological effectiveness is there at even 1/4 the dose.
Okay.
This was proved and shown at a biologic level. In fact, at that conference, the comment was drug companies don't like it. So when we asked the drug company here, nobody would like to sponsor. But we did our study with our foundation. We have done significant number of head and neck cancer patients because they respond to immunotherapy very well, tongue cancer. Just by immunotherapy with very little chemo, we have got complete remission. We are about to publish it.
Very good.
And with low dose immunotherapy. And even that low dose we gave free because it was a trial.
Great.
So I think it is called repurposing old drug in a new bottle, like you said. Some of these innovative things, I think is important for us to work with the certain government authorities to say, let us do this combined project and all. We are doing it in a big way. We believe that is an answer to a lot of these issues. And major surgeries won't be needed in future. Cost, quality of life will improve. So this is where we are taking in terms of making sure drug dosage cost comes down. Patients gets imagine in immunotherapy instead of costing them lakhs of rupees, 25,000, 30,000. It is equally effective. I can assure you now today. Okay. But we have to prove it, and we are proving it to the stress.
Basically a dose finding study.
Yes.
Good.
And we are doing it, and we are getting CR.
See, exactly. For example, there are so many drugs across all specialties. You look at American doses, it's very high, 400 milligram, 300 milligram. Suppose for our patients, if you give 300 milligram, they won't get up. So I think, correct, because our metabolism is different, our ethnicity is different. So I think so many body surface area is different. So many things. I think the dose finding. You have any projects from ICMR or anything?
No, don't have. We are trying to, because the question is we have to apply through non-profit or something. We'll look into that. And we will also write to them now. They came to me the other day, ICMR head, and said, we can support you. So we will see, we'll write up this Govind Babu, we can do that, I think. No, we will want to. But we are also capable of doing on our own. We'll see how it does this. Once we publish, maybe we can share with you also and take it forward. Because it's an exciting thing where potentially what happens is we don't want to deny treatment to anyone. How do we bridge the gap? That is one. HCG has really taken it forward. And with our foundation, like you said, we raised a lot of money. We make sure nobody is denied. And some of them are in this trap. Cost is 5 lakhs, but they can afford only 2.5 lakhs. What do we do? So we bridge the gap.
Do you get some money for the needy patient from Prime Minister Relief Fund and all, no?
Not our private hospital, that our non-profit hospitals get.
No, we have written to many patients, I think they have sanctioned money, 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs, of course, this thing. But anyway, I think really congratulations for your, I mean, you said you are not denying the treatment to the needy patients. So, I think that could be a sort of a role model to other private organizations.
And I believe that's what I've been writing. Manisha is there, she heads our center. Manisha never denies anybody
No, no,
treatment.
that
So
is
we want to make sure, and that model with this low dose and all and raising funds could be the model until a major private, national insurance comes. Hopefully that will come. And next thing is, as we are coming towards the end, of course, the question is about research in India. How do we reduce the cost? Do we talked about that research? And let me check on. They also ask you a question for you. What have you admired the most? Clinician, politician, and an administrator. You're still practicing, by the way.
See, actually, my entry into, I don't say politics, my becoming Lok Sabha member is purely accidental actually. So, I am very fascinated about my profession, and I love this profession, the amount, and see, any profession that gives maximum satisfaction, so we always embrace it. So, I think this profession, medical profession, gives lot of satisfaction, there is no question about it. So, I would like to be called as cardiologist only. I would like to be called as a cardiologist and an administrator. See, that was my dream. If I get a responsible position in a government institution, I should show the nation that a government institution can be managed like a 5-star corporate hospital for a common man, and which I fully accomplished and achieved that goal. So, we established a branch in Mysore, 400 bedded, 371 bedded at Gulbarga. Then here itself, we today under Jaideva banner, we have 2,100 cardiac beds, the largest cardiac facility in Southeast Asia. That is fine, but again, for public institutions to grow, most important, apart from grants, non-interference is one of the biggest incentive. That's what I had seen. And see, and managing manpower is the toughest thing in a public. Managing manpower, different mindset, and all those things are very important. But certainly, see, you should enjoy your job as an administrator. Only way, that means you should provide space for others to grow in your own institutions, in your own department. That stimulates the growth of the organizations. And more, see, during my 18 years as a director in that institute, I have never issued a memo to anybody actually. Even if there used to be a complaint against them and the mail, there used to be some complaints against some employees, some doctors, against nurses. I never used to actually issue a memo. I used to call them to my chamber. I used to ask them, you read what they have written. They would have written lot of nasty things. So, I used to ask them, you read loudly yourself and forget about it. Like, so, I think, and another important thing, the working atmosphere is very important. See, that workplace wellness is important. See, money alone, money, equipment alone will not create a very good working atmosphere. The head of the organization or head of the departments, they have, and you have to actually respect your junior colleagues, extremely important. So, there should not be any distance between the HODs and the junior colleagues. So, it should be very courteous, it should be very cordial, then probably there will be, in fact, every day they feel like coming to the hospital half an hour early. Otherwise, they think, oh, why you should come to the hospital like this. So, I think we have brought a change in the system, and particularly the first, in a public institution, the first contact persons you have to this thing. And I introduced an incentive scheme for the first time in a government hospital in India, in Jaideva actually, incentive scheme. And that incentive scheme was extended even to ward boy also. Suppose you give it to only doctors, if you do not give it to a sweeper, they will also be annoyed. So, of course, to introduce that there was a lot of resistance. Then I have to say let it be a pilot project. But most important, see, many of the doctors have got a proximity with very prominent politicians, even if, okay, use that proximity for developing in the institution, but most of them use that proximity for personal benefits, not for institutional benefits. So that's how we
Absolutely, absolutely. Lot to really digest and lot of good advice. Sita Lakshmi, Rahul, you were the ones, you know, in the Antarthvani inner voice we have a policy institute. We all work together on that. You have any thoughts or questions you want to ask or dialogue thing?
So, doctor, in fact, today, when I was assisting those people and telling them that, you know, you have to allow an MP's car to come in, you know, the security guard told me, don't call him an MP, he's my God, because he's still a cardiologist only. So I think you just reaffirmed that now. Yeah. So, doctor, I have one question. I have, at the Times of India, I have written extensively on health, and that's how I did meet Dr. Ajay, and I've written about you as well. Now, affordable healthcare, as much as we talk in public, when it comes down to, you know, the reality when patients come to the hospitals, and then when the, you know, when the bill comes, there is also the huge thing about the insurance. So how do we change this public perception that a private hospital is always fleecing? This does not happen all the time, because I'm on this side of the spectrum now. That I was in the media and now I am here. So I'm looking at both the sides. You know, when I was in the media, there were people who were telling that, oh, private hospitals, they always fleece patients. But a small portion of them, maybe they do that. But how do we change this public perception that all private hospitals do not care for treatment, but they always put patient, you know, in the back burner, and they are only here to make profits?
see, for example, SCG could be a great exception, because they are not turning away any patient. They have their own some sort of a poor patient or a needy patient fund and all. So I think this could be a great model actually. So even other institutions also should follow. In my opinion, any corporate hospital who have got bed strength of more than 100, I'm not talking about hospital with 25 beds or 50. Those who have got more than 100 beds, probably 5% should be reserved for poor patients, and the 5% of the beds, those beds you should treat patients at a government rate. I think then trust factor will come. That is one thing. And another thing is, anyway, I don't know whether I can tell all these things and all. So I think only if required treatment should be done. So because there is a very popular saying, that's what I have coined these things. Decision making is more important than incisions. Decision making is more important than interventions, and treatment should not be more harmful than the disease. So on this basic principle we should work, the system should work, then a great trust factor comes. Suppose the decision making, yes, this patient requires, you may not be doing a procedure, that decision, yes, you will be benefited by this protocol, you will be benefited by this strategy. No, you will not be benefited by this. That, so suppose if we ourselves are not sure about the outcome, we should not.
So one of the things, Dr. Manja, we have also tried in our clinic, which we are putting it to use in Bangalore to begin with, is, for example, if you want to do something to the patient to know whether it's working or not, you should not charge the patient.
Correct.
See, for example, we do now, MRI is non-toxic. It is it is not like an X-ray. So what we are doing now is, suppose the patient needs MRI every 3 months. We want to see whether this particular low-dose immunotherapy working or not. We have created a model where Chaitra is there. We have a problem where patient is not charged. We do it every week, every 2 weeks, to see whether drug is working. Am I giving this drug unnecessarily? So I measure the tongue depth, the tumor depth. But patient should not be charged. So we tell the patient is free. Anyway, once in 3 months, we charge them whatever it is, that is collected. But this is the model I am writing to see whether we could do. If it is for me to know whether certain thing is working or not, I should not charge the patient. Particularly MRI is non-toxic and also it's not costly. For example, if I do 15 MRI, if I do 20 MRIs, it's not going. Nothing is going to cost.
Another 1 or 2 can be done.
Yeah,
That
and
is what is called volume.
similarly, Dr. Manjunath, on radiation, that was part of my Harvard study. If suppose a patient, our load is get done at 10 o'clock in the night, I can treat till 12 o'clock. Bring free patients and treat them those 2 hours. What do we lose? Only electricity, and anyway, AC is on all the time. So this is the model in the private sector we should create, and we should propagate it to others. So
In fact, probably through this podcast, certainly it could be a great, at least a stimulus for other private organization. Need not be a cancer institute, they should do it actually. See, particularly large, big corporate hospital, 5% if they really take care of poor and needy patient, and it should be price flexible also. Sometimes price flexibility. We have a certain package, I mean A package or a B package, but if they are falling short by about 10 or 20%, you should able to adjust on this thing. That is very, very important.
I think we have to take care, do this, and from you, now the final thing I want to ask you is comment, being a podcast, a lot of viewers are there. As a cardiologist who have done remarkable work, as a person who is a prominent position now in the political thing, being a member of parliament, I know you do represent a party, but apart from party lines, what would be the message you would like to say for Indian healthcare, combining public, private? See, most of the time what I feel is those who are in private talk about private. Those who are in public, I think government. And we all look at each other in a way. I think, yes, the time come to seriously put together a plan and work together in the interest of making sure in healthcare we become an advanced country. And we have all the levers for that.
See, India has got a great talent pool and also has got a great infrastructure. And nowadays, a lot of consumables and a lot of equipments are made in India itself. As a result, these equipments are made available. But the most important thing is, see, sometimes if there is a shortage of staff in some government institutions, should make some sort of an MOU with the private institution, see that at least twice weekly basis they can go and do all those things. That is this thing. But most important is one should not be hesitant to have a consultation with other colleagues when you are in a dilemma, and there should not be any ego clashes, and ultimately the most important person is patient and the outcome. That is very important. If I don't know, I think one of the best answer is I don't know. Then you have to consult your colleagues, because you may be good in one particular area, I may be good in one area, and those things. And so trust factor is very, very important, because even today this is one profession. If nobody also recognizes, society recognizes you, society considers you as a celebrity if you this thing. So I think this sort of nobility is nowhere in that. So certainly I think we all need money, there is no doubt about it, but actually patient's life is very, very important. In fact, I coined 3 terms and literally followed these 3 slogans: treatment first, payment next concept, life is more important than the file, humanity is priority. So why life is more important than the file means, suppose somebody comes with a cardiac emergency to a casualty. So if you go on asking, I mean, you have to pay this amount, because a person with heart attack, heart attack doesn't wait for any of these procedures. So, even 1 minute, 2 minutes can make a difference. So, probably there also, so even in a private corporate hospital, there has to be some sort of a flexibility while treating an emergency. Okay, you can't treat all patients, I mean subsidized rate, because you have to take care of your employees, the expenditure, salaries are pretty high, maintenance cost is very high, and you have spent a lot of money on infrastructure, bank loans, all those things are there. At least you can do some sort of initial stabilization. Another important thing is where India public hospital has to strengthen is in ICU care. So, we have to strengthen the ICU care in district hospitals or medical college hospital. That is where the money is drained, whether it is head injury or heart attack, snake bite or poisoning cases or terminally sick patients and all those things and all. So, certainly we have to work together. That's because some sort of an exchange program has to be there, and but SCG and Dr. Ajaikumar, I have to, and the team, I have to really congratulate because you said you are not turning away any patients for the want of money, and when a patient requires a needy treatment, we are somehow managing out of our internal resources. That is a great gesture, and probably others, other private institutions should also inculcate to some extent. I am not telling every this thing and all. And most important, as doctors, I think unnecessary procedures should not be done, unnecessary investigation should not be done. That is very, very important. Money will come. Money for doctors, it is like a tamarind tree. So, it continues to come. Okay, in the initially small, then it picks up. That is no problem, because what is happening, chasing money will end up with will have a lot of health problems. Then to take care of those health problems, you have to spend a lot of money. So, that is one of the things that is happening.
One of the things I want to end this by giving an example. What you said is very true. People should not be stretched. People should not do certain things to meet the medical expenses. It's so important. I had a farmer from actually Mandya region somewhere recently. He had a oral cancer, and I knew he is not affording type. As per we discussed our team, we said, look here, this will be costly, we can do certain things, but I can connect you to Kidwai, why don't you go, you can get good treatment. He said, Kannadadalli illa sir, namge family alla treat madidare, illi ille beku. So I said, okay. I told him one, you don't have wealth, what will you do? You write a contract with me, I will not borrow money, I will not sell my land. I made him write a contract. Then I told our foundation, let us fund him. See, we have to come up with models, doctor. Otherwise, we can't sleep in the night doing this. People are selling properties, people are taking loans, and we don't understand the ground zero situation because we don't pay enough attention. Our medico-social workers sometimes don't go into the depth. And tomorrow we know they sell, even though they have an option to go to the local hospital close by, which is only 1 mile away, when they choose, we have to cater to them. So I think you have made wonderful points, Dr. Manjunath, and it has been a great hour talking to you, and your outlook, the amazing achievements you have done. Hats off to you, trendsetter. You have shown what can a government hospital do, how you can raise even funds. I think as we discussed through this podcast, maybe a lot of private hospitals, others can learn that how we can also do this and make sure patients come first. Like you said, treat first, do things the right way, and do the right thing for the people. Okay? I would like to thank you very much.
Thank you,
and thanks for coming. And thanks everyone for coming. Thank you very much. We will look forward to having more conversations hopefully future. You want to say anything else?
It's okay, fine. Anyway, I think doctors are the most stressed community. So today, because of too much of expectations from the patients, I think we are under terrible stress. So you have to take care, and having multiple hospital attachment can be also maybe a health hazard, because in cities, particularly in bigger cities, you are caught in the traffic, then you'll be always looking at the traffic signal that will be counting as 120 seconds, 110 seconds, then your patient is already waiting for you. That puts a lot of stress. So I think, and most important, we have to communicate to the patients properly. See, what we doctors, work so hard, even spend sleepless nights, you might not have even taken proper dinner, but when it comes to answering patients, sometimes there may be slip of the tongue and all those things. So then whatever the good thing you have done will be washed away. Many a time it is, in my own experience, some patients used to come and ask me, sir, you only come and see. Patient is very sick. So always I used to go and see. Then after half an hour, patient is declared dead. Then those relatives used to come back and tell me, thank you very much, doctor. In the last few hours of the patient life, he came and saw. So that sort of gratitude will be always there. But you should be always be receptive, and you should listen to patients. Many a time listening to the patients, by listening to the patients, patient themselves can give you a diagnosis in 50% of the cases. So you have to listen to them, very, very important. And most important, you should always discuss with your colleagues when there is a dilemma. You should not have any ego. That too, if they are from the same specialty, there are some hospitals where 6, 7 consultants visit, they don't talk to each other. They should talk to each other. I think, of course, yours is a great, I think that's how we can build the trust, because today average lifespan of a modern day doctor has come down by 8 to 10 years. We have been seeing young doctors, 29-year-old gynecologist with an heart attack, and 32-year-old nephrologist coming with heart attack. I think stress is really becoming more among the doctors, and we have what is called, and treating an intellectual patient puts you a lot of stress, and many a time so-called intelligent patients end up in getting a bad treatment also, because they argue, they discuss so many things. We have 2 syndromes, I re-emphasize. One is idiot syndrome, and second is CAPI syndrome. Idiot syndrome is internet-derived information obstructing treatment. And second is CAPI syndrome, children abroad, parents in India. Children abroad, parents in India, they keep calling, keep exchanging mails, but ultimately when they patient becomes bad or becomes almost critical, they come and pick up the quarrel, asking 101 questions and all. So I think stress is really playing us, and you have to share the things, and you have to take care of our health also, very, very important, because we conduct health camps for the public, but time has come, we have to conduct health camp for us also.
Great message. Very good message.